Yes, sir, we are ready.
Thank you, Pijus. Very pleasant morning, everyone. Once again, IHM welcomes every one of you for another interesting session in this Friday morning. Yes, every day we have energetic and super power packed sessions with some great personalities from the industry. Adding into that, today we have another exciting session. My name is Ernest Emmanuel, live streaming and reporting from IHM Career Studio, Hyderabad. Today we have a guest with us, a most dedicated and prominent leader in hospitality industry, and very dynamic and most humble. Of course, one of our close associate for IHM Hotel Schools, Mr. Rohit Dar, Regional Director of Operations, Hilton Group India. Mr. Rohit brings with him extensive and immense experience in hospitality industry more than 2 decades. After graduating business studies from Delhi University, Mr. Rohit joined the management training program at OCLD when it was still the Oberoi School of Management in 1990. He worked for 18 years with the Oberoi Group in various hotels and operational departments, including being a part of the opening team at Trident Cochin as a Deputy General Manager in 1999 and Rooms Division Manager at the Oberoi Rajvilas in 2001. His last stint at Oberoi's was 6 years from 2003 to 2009 at Oberoi Center for Learning Development, which is OCLD, as Associate Vice President for Learning and Development. He was responsible for the administrative and academic processes at OCLD, training and development of the management trainees, and involved in the recruitment process also. He returned to operations in 2010 and worked as a general manager in Oakwood Luxury Service Residences, Bengaluru for 2 years and with Marriott Hotels for 7 years as a general manager at Jaipur Marriott Hotel, which is the largest hotel in Rajasthan, and also the general manager at the Westin Hyderabad Mindspace. He was awarded the Marriott Asia Pacific 2016 General Manager Award for his sales leadership. He is currently in a leadership role with the Hilton as Regional Director of Operations managing South India portfolio. Rohit's expertise includes improving service quality standards with his eye for detail and driving performance in hotel operations. He is a people's person who strongly believes in motivating individuals to perform better and achieve their goals. He loves to travel and try different cuisines and is particularly fond of street food. Ladies and gentlemen, join with me to welcome Mr. Rohit Dar to our IHM Career Studio for interacting with our students. Before I call him, it is my privilege and honor to invite our chairman and CEO, Dr. Subarna Bose, for welcoming Mr. Rohit and few words about the session. Over to you, Dr. Bose.
Very good morning. Thanks, Ernest. And it's such a pleasure and such an honor to have Rohit, our very old friend from OCLD. Actually, I remember old time, especially from Iihm, where we had got so much of interaction with him and with the OCLD, with people like Sumit Joshi and all, where there. It was like a different world at that time. And so many of our alumni, I remember distinctly people like Durba and all, who were there and used to come and tell great things about him. And then, of course, he came back to operation and he's closely with IHM family. So another what I'll say, to borrow a word from Bollywood, another blockbuster session in Anvil. This is for all our new first year student guys. This is a class which I say every day, you have to have your pen and pencil and your piece of paper or laptop, whatever, or iPad ready. You should take down the notes. This is not a YouTube lecture. You can get a lot of free YouTube lecture. You don't need to pay IHM a lot of money for IHM education. So you rather come and you ask questions, you write down the points, and this is what we call the IHM education. This is the induction time. we want you to shape to the hospitality DNA. And for that, we have got some amazing people coming every day to talk with you as we go uh, forward for the day today. We have got another amazing guy joining at 2 p.m. James Edmund from all the way from London, from the University of West London, Dean of the Hospitality and Tourism. And we have got some amazing people, other people as well joining. So this would be a great session. We will miss tomorrow being the Independence Day, but then today's learning would be very important. So before anything else, I think it's important you concentrate, because focus. I think you have been told many times, but I just want to repeat again, because these are challenging time, but your positivity, our positivity, and the positivity of the entire hospitality fraternity is rubbing on everyone. So we are positive. We are super positive. Things are getting into place already. Yesterday you heard David Foskett. David Foskett even got a candle in front of you. So you saw David Foskett that London restaurants are overflowing. You saw people coming. I was in ITC yesterday night for a dinner in Calcutta, Royal Bengal, and I couldn't get a table. I had to wait for half an hour to get a table. It's full. So things are coming sometimes slowly, sometimes quite fast. So things are falling in place. And very soon we'll not talk in the boxes like that, but we'll talk physically as we welcome you to our campus. We are dying for that. So over to Mr. Rohit. Rohit, it's such a pleasure to welcome you. Such an honor to have you with us. And thank you very much for your time. And I know that you are a very intense person. So please share your intensity with our new students. Over to you. Thank you.
This kind of introduction and welcome is a lot of pressure on saying the right things and not the wrong things. But you know, Dr. Bose, you're right. It's been quite some time since we met, and I still remember, you know, Sumit and everyone. We used to talk so much about IIM and IIHM. But I don't know whether you know this. I know Ernest knows this. But my, in a sense, relationship with IIHM also is that your Faridabad IIHM is very close to where I live. So every time I used to go to work, every day I used to pass it. This was a long time back.
And Mr. Rohit, we have other campus directors also there. They will like to say hi to you. And Sanchari ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, Ernest, and good morning, sir, and good morning, Rohit, once again. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. And, you know, to begin the morning with such an energy-filled and motivating session, I'm sure our students are extremely lucky, you know, to hear from you today, your journey, and definitely, you know, so many things, you know, they have to, in fact, you know, write down, you know, all the pointers they have to make, you know, for everything that you'll be sharing. So it's an honor for each one of us to, in fact, welcome you today and have you around with us on this very great morning. Thank you so much, Rohit, for joining us. Thank you, Ernest.
Thank you, ma'am. Over to you, Rupinder sir from Pune.
Good morning, Mr. Dar. Once more, it's really a pleasure to have you over here on this platform. It's going to be definitely very enriching for our students to hear from you, your journey, and learn from your journey. It's their second week that we are talking about, and you know, getting to hear from stalwarts like you is definitely a session, you know, worthy of sitting in and listening to. Looking forward to a great session today.
Thank you, Mr. Rupinder. And over to you, Mr. Debashish from Ahmedabad.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Good morning, Mr. Dar. It's an immense pleasure to have you on the session. And I'm sure the first years are very excited to and waiting with deep breaths for your session, to hear you speak about your experience and sharing your experience with them. And I'm sure the session is going to be a very interesting one. Once more, welcome to the session. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Debashish. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Rohit, as you know, Dr. Bose rightly said, 1,300 students watching your session right now in the Zoom platform and Facebook Live. So 30 years of experience in the hospitality industry. Of course, you are a true inspiration for many young hospitality aspirants. So please share with us about your journey and your success stories, how you are enjoying your hospitality life. Over to you, Mr. Rohit. Stage is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Bose and everybody else on the call. Uh, I hope I'm audible. If I can see some students on my first page, so if I'm audible, can I just get a thumbs up, please? Thank you. First and most importantly, to all the students, congratulations on taking your first step into the wonderful world of hospitality, which I believe is truly the most exciting industry to be in. I know you're hearing a lot of things happening in today's world, but I assure you, like Dr. Bose said, and rightly so, the industry, as it always does in times of crisis, is going to bounce back and is going to come out stronger. So by the time you pass out in 3 years, you'll be looking at a very different industry, much, much more newer, more technologically advanced, and it'll be great fun. In the next few years, you're going to learn a lot of new technical and service skills that are going to help you integrate into the hospitality industry. And I can't think, while you embark on this journey, on a better institute that you have joined. I think you have joined the best, not just in terms of the awesome faculty that you're going to be experiencing in the next 3 years, but the industry relevant curriculum and the innovative leadership that continues to drive things for the hospitality industry in India. I was talking to Ernest and others, and it's amazing to see your curriculum. When you look at your curriculum, communication and development sessions year on year for the next 3 years, digital marketing as part of a curriculum, entrepreneurship. Uh, I was having a discussion with Emmanuel and Supriyo yesterday, and they were telling me about their real simulations in food and beverage, and I was so amazed. I didn't know about it earlier how the plans were, but the simulations were done exactly how they used to be done in OCLD from stage to stage. And it's amazing how that's what world-class institutions are all about. And let's not forget that I think, and Dr. Bose, I think this is credit to you and obviously passed down to everybody else in all the heads of the institutes, that the kind of proactive engagement that everyone does with the hotel leaders in each city is quite an amazing thing. I don't think any other institute does so much of interaction with HODs, with general managers, with above property leaders across the board. And I think that is not just a testament to your vision and dream, Dr. Bose, but I think it's a commitment to the industry as a whole. And I think that's brilliant. And I think those kind of synergies between industry and institutes are greatly beneficial for students, especially. You know, and of course, let's not forget, I know we may be talking about this a little later, but just in terms of new things and innovation, the Sahas Entrepreneurship Cell, the International Young Chef Olympiad that you started, the international hospitality that every hotelier in every city is now aware of, are such great initiatives. And again, relevant not just to IIHM or to your students, but to the larger hospitality industry. That's the amazing thing. So back to all of you in first year. These years, young ladies and gentlemen, are going to be as much about your professional development as your personal development. And whenever I have this wonderful opportunity to speak to you all, I have done it a few times before, especially in Hyderabad IIHM. Uh, it's amazing when you're taking your first steps in the industry. I always, when I talk to everybody, I know it's a long time back, like 30 years is a long time, but believe me, I still remember those first few days, whether it was the first few days of college or my hotel training. And I don't let myself forget them, because I think if I forget them, I will forget why I do what I do every day. So at this time, when you are starting out 2 weeks into college, I know there must be a lot of excitement about learning new things, meeting new people, discovering new places. But there must also be some fears that you all have. When I first started right after school, I know I did, right? Fears like, I don't know, will people like me, my fellow students, my teachers? If you're from another city and you've come to study, you wonder whether you will like the city. Would you like the food? I particularly love food of every state and every city, but there are people who sometimes have to adjust to things. Will I do well in my exams? And later on, will I do well in my training? Imagine, I want to tell you something from a personal note. When I joined OCLD, which is a management training institute of the Oberois, I did it after doing graduation. I didn't study hotel management in college. And 80% of my fellow colleagues in the management training program had already done 3 years of hotel management. So it was a lot of effort to try and perform because you had to do much more. They all knew how to make a tomato soup. I was learning how to make a tomato soup for the first time in my life. Never came out well for the first few weeks, but then you learn and you strive to do better. The other things you might be fearing is, what if I don't enjoy what I'm doing? I've joined a new career. What happens if I don't enjoy it? Will I get a job later? If I get a job, will I get a good job? Look, it's okay. I mean, I'm telling you this now, but always, always remember one thing. It is okay to be afraid. What you need to do is learn how to manage that fear. Whenever we are faced with something that is new, that I've never experienced before, you may be worried. Worrying is natural. If anyone has ever told you, your parents, your teachers, if anyone has ever told you that they are not afraid of something new, then I promise you they're not telling the truth. Right? I'll share a personal example with all of you. And Ernest has knows about this for the last 2 weeks. When I was asked to speak to all of you a few weeks back, right, I was extremely excited when I first heard about it. And then when Ernest told me a little bit more, I also got stressed. Why? Well, there was excitement because I was talking to such a wonderful young group of hoteliers. And yet there was also apprehension because this was the very, very first time I was talking virtually to such a large audience. You may not believe this, but it's true, right? Zoom meetings with friends and Zoom meetings with our colleagues is very different from a virtual session. I mean, Dr. Bose has already put a lot of pressure on me, saying 1,300 people are writing notes. So can you imagine what I felt even after so many years of experience to try something new? And I've always been used to having an audience in front of me that I can see and interact with. So what did I do with this fear, this worry? I did a few things, right? First, I spoke to a colleague who had done this kind of thing before. Then I called up a friend to share my thoughts of what I want to speak to all of you about. Then Ernest and Supriyo helped me do a test run yesterday so I could feel better. And last but not least, I spoke to my college-going son, who's in the final year of college, to tell me about his experiences when he first started college in the first 2 weeks. Now, all of this together made me feel better prepared and much more confident. I may look confident, but I'm feeling extremely nervous about all of you writing notes right now. So, one of the things that you must remember about confidence, and you can write this down, confidence is not the absence of fear. Confidence is the ability of overcoming your fears to be able to achieve something. Right? So I thought, what better than to look at my years of experience as the Rohit Dhar sitting in front of you and talk to the Rohit Dhar that just started out in college many years back. What would I tell him? You know, one thing I would tell him was not to be a backbencher always. I was a backbencher. And for all those who are like that, please remember, please come to the front sometimes. The teachers and the presentations are much clearer to hear and understand when you're sitting in front rather than at the back. So please do that once in a while. So what I want to do is I want to share with you 6 life lessons or learnings from my experience. And I want to share with you 4 skills or values that I feel you must have for the future. So I'm going to start with 6 learnings from my experience that I think that you should keep in mind, especially for the next 3 years of your studying and your training. I mean, these 6 could be something that I share with you, and hopefully it's going to help you not make the same mistakes that we may have done when we were your age. Uh, you will make your own mistakes, but hopefully you'll make less of them once you have spoken to so many industry people that you've been doing over the last few days. So number one lesson is life is whatever you make of it. Things will not always work out the way you expected. But don't take too much tension. Just a little bit of tension is enough. Learn to adapt, learn to seize an opportunity, even if it is not the one you expected, or even if it is what you wanted, but feel that you are not yet ready for it. Over the years, one lesson that I have repeatedly learned again and again over the years is whatever happens to you for a reason. Sometimes the reason you get to know many years later, but there's always a reason for whatever happens to you. I'll give you an example, right? I think Ernest and I told you right now that I didn't join hotel management, I did graduation, but I wanted to do hotels. When I passed out of school, I wanted to do hotels, but I couldn't sit for the test because I also wanted to be something else. Guess what? Very obvious, either doctor or engineer. But there was only one small problem. To become a doctor, you have to get through entrance exams, tough ones. Now, that didn't happen. And so I joined regular college and I did business studies. When we got to campus interviews at the end of the third year, the first company that came to the college was, guess what? A hotel company. And I got through and joined the management training program at Oberoi's. So somehow a dream and a thought I had 3 years before came to be realized once I graduated from college. So life is whatever you make of it. It's you who are going to decide how you're going to take life forward. Learn to keep adapting. The second one as a lesson is push yourself to do better each and every day. Push yourself to do better each and every day. There is never going to be a substitute for hard work. Now, everybody you speak to, whether it's your teachers, your principals, or your industry leaders, everyone will tell you this. But you know what? It is extremely important at every stage. But at your learning phase right now, it's critical to do hard work. And trust me, you may have experiences in school also. If you learn this early, hard work, you will have a better time later on. All those people who work really hard, you can see the results of them now. Whoever is not doing it, please start doing it. We have a human tendency to compare ourselves with other people. It doesn't always help when you keep comparing, because there will always be someone better than you in something or the other. So all you need to remember, rather than being the best, try and do your best. I keep telling I meet, including my own sons, I keep telling them that my expectation is that you don't get 99 like everyone else. But whatever you're doing, I want you to push yourself so that you get better and better. I'll give you an example. When my son has an exam, right? In the morning he's going for the exam, I don't wish him all the best. I wish him do your best, because that's all that's possible. But even that is extremely important. The third lesson, everything that you do 100% and don't complain. We often say, I'm sure you have done, in your inner voice, you have done this before. Why do I have to study so much? What kind of work have I been given? Why do I have to do this job? I find this so boring. These thoughts are detrimental, not helpful for your learning journey. Put 100% into whatever task you're given. Very, very important. When I first started training in hotels, the first department I trained in was the kitchen. Now, young person, just first training period, it was in the kitchen. I was 21 years old. And everyone will tell you something like this as a story. I'm sure you, when you join training, you will experience this. As soon as I went into the kitchen, the first thing the chef told me was, here is a sack of onions, start peeling. So I started peeling a sack of onions. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was 20 or 30 kilos. I started working on a sack of onions. I kept peeling and peeling and peeling. I felt very happy at the end of doing this work. So I went to the chef and I said, Chef, I've done it, hoping that he will give me something more to do, like cook food. You know what he did? He gave me another packet of onions, sack of onions. And all day, on the first day, all I did was peel onions. And of course, sometimes you got potatoes as well, right? But that's not the story. The story is I kept doing it diligently. I had a very close friend of mine who's still a close friend. He was training with me in that kitchen. He got very fed up after 2 days. So what he did was he went and complained to the chef. He went to the chef and said, Chef, you know, this training and all, just doing onions and potatoes is not good training. Please teach me something else. I did not complain. I kept doing what I had to do. Guess what happened at the end of 1 week? At the end of 1 week, I, who had not complained and done my work diligently, was told, come, let me teach you. And at that point of time, it might not seem like a big thing, but he said, come, let's work on the range. And he taught me the range and I grilled something. It was a big high for me. My friend who had complained about the onions and the potatoes did only that for 1 month. So whatever you do, put in your 100% and don't complain. The fourth lesson, and this is something that you all must imbibe while you are in this phase of yours, respect and enjoy the differences in others, in your colleagues. When you come to college every day, when you work on a group assignment or a project assignment together with other people, remember, it's very easy and convenient to interact with those people you like or you get along with. And if you keep doing that for 3 years of your life, you may have lost a wonderful golden opportunity to learn from somebody that you don't usually interact with. You know, each one of us are unique in ourselves. We are unique individuals. We have our own strengths and weaknesses. Interacting with people who you may not or you think you don't get along with is actually helpful in two ways. One, it might just help you to understand the person a little bit better and start liking him. Secondly, it will definitely help you in learning how to work with everybody. You know, I remember a time when we opened a hotel in Cochin, the Trident, and we had a pre-opening leadership team that was, when you say unique, it had a very different group of people. Each departmental head was different and unique. But one thing that we learned was that we learned to leave our egos aside and we learned to embrace each of our unique qualities and work together as a team. That doesn't mean we didn't fight with each other. We very often fought with each other for whatever we believed in. And it will happen in your assignments also at college. You will get into assignments, you will have arguments with others, but we never let it affect our relationships and our work. And I think that's the thing. When you respect and enjoy the differences in other people, liking or not liking is not important anymore. It's about understanding. And that's going to help you a great deal in the next 3 years of your life. The fifth life lesson: whatever you are given, start working on it today. Don't procrastinate. I don't know how many of you have heard of something called Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law says that work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Work expands to fill the time available for its completion. I'll tell you what this means. if I give you 2 weeks to complete something, then you will take that much time to complete it. You will complete it in 13 days or 14 days. But if I had given you the exact same task and told you complete this in 1 month, nobody will do it in 14 days. You will take at least 28 or 29 or 30 days to do it. So don't waste your time in starting to do something. Hence, don't wait for the last minute to complete it. Your stress level will tremendously reduce. You know, I have a friend who starts the assignment the moment she gets it and is able to finish the assignment well before the due date. The reason I'm stressing to you about starting the task today, not procrastinating, is ever since I was your age, I am very guilty of this. You know, this last minute submission of projects, it's very stressful. Try and complete them in advance. So start everything today. Sixth and final life lesson for you. Focus on the now. No one can predict the future, correct? No one can bring back the past, correct? So don't overthink and stress about the future. And don't keep dwelling on your past. Because if you do those two things, you are going to be standing in the very same place and not moving. Because you'll be wondering what to do, so worried. And one thing we need to constantly do in our lives is move forward. Whatever happens, whatever mistakes you made, you've got to keep moving forward. So plan for the future, learn from the past, but just keep moving. You know, when we are talking to you like this, the hope and the desire for all of us is that we are sharing with you our learnings from our past and hoping that it's going to help you plan for your future better. This is not a session where I think you will do everything I tell you. But this is a session where even if some of you can pick up some things and imbibe them, at least you will be better planned for your future. However bad or great today was, remember tomorrow is going to be another day. When you finish off today, it could be the worst day of your life, it could be the best day of your life. When you go to sleep and wake up in the morning, it's another day. And that day is a new day. And how you take forward that day depends on your attitude, not on the day itself. Somebody once told me, oh, you know, it's raining outside. Terrible. The same person said it's very hot outside. The weather outside doesn't determine how you enjoy the day. How you enjoy the day is determined by your own attitude towards the day. Think about it, huh? Whether you have a good day or a bad day, you will have it because you thought you're going to have one. When I was talking to my son, no, who was telling he was in college, one of the things he was reminding me was, please try not to do too much gyan or unnecessary wisdom. So I was telling him that that's not easy to do. I'm going to tell you, I don't know how many of you know or have heard of a gentleman called Javed Akhtar. He writes songs and lyrics. I'll give you a line from him. I will say the line in Hindi. And for those who don't know or understand Hindi, I'll try and translate it loosely in English. The line is a very interesting one. It says, अच्छा होगा या बुरा होगा, अच्छा होगा या बुरा होगा, जिंदगी में जो भी होगा तजुर्बा होगा. Which basically means that whatever happens in life, whether good or bad, it's going to be a learning experience for each one of you. Take it like that. And before I close the live lessons, I want you to don't forget one thing I have not told you this yet. While you're doing all of these things, studying hard, doing your training, don't forget to please enjoy yourself in these 3 years. You're in college. Watch movies, spend time with friends, discover new places to visit in the city you're in, discover new places to eat if you like it, travel whenever you get the chance. Don't let the study for the exam next Monday, but don't let that stop you from doing enjoyable things. So enjoy while you're doing all this. Now, but as I move forward, there are 4 life skills or values that I truly feel are important for you to remember. You've heard them being said. You could have heard them from your parents, other industry people, from your teachers. I just want you to not forget them in this journey that you're going to have ahead, right? The first and most important one, you will hear this from everybody, not just in hospitality, but everybody that you will talk to. The most important thing that you need to have is a positive attitude. Attitude is the most important attribute. What does attitude mean? Attitude means a single-minded devotion to your studies, professionalism in everything that you do, and above all, keeping a warm smile on your face. Be positive, believe in yourself. You can only become an achiever once you are a believer in yourself. I'm sure you've heard success stories from, you must be reading about success stories, but I keep thinking about people, in terms of how they failed and succeeded. And I think the learnings are not from people's successes. I think the learnings are mostly from people's failures, even our own. Like, you've heard the story of Jack Ma, right? Alibaba head, and he failed to get into university many times he tried. Not sure if you've heard of J.K. Rowling. I'm sure you've read the books, Harry Potter series, but she was rejected multiple times by many publications before she became a success. Don't know how many of you have seen the movie or know the story of MS Dhoni, but he wasn't an instant success when he was young. He struggled a lot before getting into the Indian cricket team, but when he got into the team, what a difference he made in life. These are the kind of things that make a difference. Not succeeding from day one, but learning how to manage your failures every time you fall. Falling is not a problem. Learning how to get up after you fall is going to make the difference between your success or failure. While you try and maintain a positive attitude, I have 3 phrases that I like to share with everybody. These are very, very simple phrases, sometimes not used, I feel, often enough by people. But if used more, I think the world might become a better place and definitely relationships will become better. So I'll tell you the 3 phrases I believe in. The first phrase is, what do you say when you want something from someone? You say, please. That's the first phrase, please. The second phrase, what do you say when you get something from someone? Think about it. Thank you. That's your second phrase, thank you. The last, most important, very seldom used phrase is the one you're supposed to say when you make a mistake. What is that phrase? You remember? Sorry. So please, thank you, and sorry. Try and remember these 3 things as you move ahead in terms of how you handle people in relationships. So the first one is have a positive attitude as a value. The second one is be passionate and enthusiastic about whatever you do in life. If you enjoy your life and your work, you will be happy with everything around you. Your students, your fellow colleagues, your teachers, your guests, and your family. So keep smiling. Remember to be polite and courteous. Remember to stay calm even in tough situations, and be excited about whatever is given to you. There's one person who always has inspired me for the dedication despite success. And that comes from passion and enthusiasm. This gentleman's name is Sachin Tendulkar, right? Sachin Tendulkar, everyone will tell you these stories about him. Despite the success he achieved, he never stopped practicing every day. He never stopped hitting the nets to try and correct his mistakes, to try and do better every day. It doesn't come from any other place except passion for what you do. And all the people you speak to or have been invited on your forums, I've seen a few that have spoken to you. There's one very, very important quality in each and every one of them is the passion they bring because of the work that they enjoy in the business of hospitality. You can feel it. I was looking at some of the sessions you had prior to this, and you can feel that energy even through the virtual meeting. And we're all like that. We're in this business because of how passionate we are about the business. There's no other better example than Dr. Bose about having passion for this kind of work. Thank you, sir. Truly an inspiration. That's the second one, passion and enthusiasm. The third one is keep learning continuously. Take your sessions very seriously. Never stop asking questions or trying to improve all of your life. When I think when we are sitting in classrooms, now I still remember when I used to be in class, you are afraid of putting up your hand and saying, I don't know this, because you look around to see if anyone else is asking the question. And because nobody else is asking the question, you decide, okay, I'll also not ask this question. But when you don't clarify something that you don't understand in a class, the only person getting affected is you yourself. So I am not asking you to be embarrassed and put up your hand. What I'm saying is that if you are worried about what others will think in a class, that's fine. But find out after the class. Either, I don't know, Google search it. Ask a colleague who may know the answer. Or go and ask the teacher who told you about this and you didn't get the answer. Ask that question after the class. But don't let the day go by without learning what you did not know. And there is always something to be learned. Whatever age, whatever position you are in, there's always something to be learned. I come to work every day of my life and ensure that I learn something new from whoever it is, even how small it is. Yesterday, I was sitting and I came very early to work yesterday, and there were two people sitting in the boardroom and they were looking for the IT person. The IT person had not come that morning. So I asked, what is it for? So they told me, this is the problem we're facing. I fixed it in 2 minutes. I didn't fix it because I'm a genius. I fixed it because many months back, when this problem happened with me, rather than have the IT guy fixed it, I told the IT guy, teach me how to do it. He taught me how to do it. And now I know how to do it. So I don't need the IT guy and I can help other people. But imagine that day, many months back, if I had not asked the IT guy, I would continuously be dependent on him for something so small. Right? So learning is not about college or other things. It's just about a continuous process, day on day. And in tomorrow's environment, everyone will tell you this. The knowledge base that you have, the ability to multi-skill is going to be very important for you in tomorrow's business environment. So keep learning continuously is my third value for you. The last and one of the most important values is, I told you this earlier also about falling and getting up. The value is never give up and stay motivated always. Do not depend on other people to motivate you. Self-motivation is the most rewarding because it comes from within. It's not dependent on the people or the environment around you. It's not external. Self-motivation is internal. I drive myself to do better. I want to learn this. I think I can do this. It's a question of how I can motivate myself. And you need to be strong even when you're passing through difficult phases. There'll be tough times all the time in the kind of work we do especially. But it's how you manage those times. I don't know. This is my last story, I think, of the day. But I don't know how many of you have ever heard about the carrot, egg, and coffee story. It's a little bit about it's about handling adversity and how you can handle it better. So I'll tell you the story. And the reason I'm telling you the story is it's like a 1% of the other thing, right? So I was told this story many years back by my mentor in OCLD. And he was told this many years before by his mentor. So it's like I'm passing on this story to you to learn from, right? It's the carrot, eggs, and coffee story. It's really about it's very simple. It's so there's a young lady and she's going through a lot of stress in life, and she doesn't know what to do. It's very hard. She's finding that nothing's going right for her. Everything is going wrong. One problem gets solved, another one comes up. So she goes to her mom. You know how moms can solve any problem, right? Most of the time, right? You go to your mom, you know it can be solved. So she went to her mother and she said, I don't know what to do. So her mother took her to the kitchen. She filled 3 pots of water and she placed them on the burner. And the water started boiling. Then what she did was that in one of the pots she placed a carrot, in the second she placed eggs, and in the last she placed ground coffee beans. And she let them sit and boil, and they both started chatting with each other and waited for it to boil. And they didn't say, they chatted for some time and they kept quiet. In about 20 minutes of boiling, she turned off the burners. She took out the carrots, put them in a bowl. She took out the eggs, put them in a bowl. And then she took out the coffee and also put it in a bowl. And she turned to her daughter and she said, so tell me what you see. She said, I see carrots, eggs, and coffee. What are you talking about? So she said, no, no, come here, closer. Touch the carrots. Feel the carrots. So the daughter felt the carrots and noted that they had become soft. Carrots are hard. After boiling for 20 minutes, they become very soft. Then she asked her, take the egg and break it. After pulling off the shell, the egg obviously after 20 minutes was very hard boiled from inside. It wasn't soft like it went before into the boiling water. Finally, the mother asked the daughter to sip the cup of coffee. The daughter smiled as she tasted the rich aroma of the coffee and said, what does this all mean, but? So then the mother explained, and this is what I'm going to explain to you. Each of these things is about how you face the same adversity, boiling water. Each of them reacted differently. The carrot went into the adversity strong, hard. However, after being subject to the boiling water, it softened and became weak. The egg was fragile from inside, and the outer shell had protected its liquid interior. But after sitting through the boiling water, even its inside became hard. The ground coffee, however, were unique. When they went in, they changed the water. Which are you? She asked the daughter. When adversity comes, when you are faced with a difficult situation, how do you respond? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? Each one of us can choose who we want to be. Are you going to be the carrot who seems strong in the beginning, but when you're faced with pain and adversity, do you wilt and lose that strength? Or are you the egg who's really soft hearted, but when put through this kind of heat, do you become rigid and stubborn? Does your outer look the same, but in the inside you are not so happy? Or, or are you going to be like the coffee bean? When things are at their worst, you get better. You don't let the situation change you, you change the situation around you. How do you handle adversity? Are you a carrot, an egg, or a coffee bean? You may have started as anything, but the beauty of life is that you can consciously choose who to be. I sincerely hope that in the coming few years, with all the adversity that you are definitely going to go through, I hope you come out of it being coffee. And rather than letting the environment change you, I hope that you continuously change the energy and the vibe in the environment around you. And as you go through your hospitality journey, please remember, we are people first and we are hoteliers second. You are not just doing a job or a task. You are helping people. It is something that I have never forgotten when I first stepped into the hospitality industry. Hospitality, by definition and by action, is all about taking care and having concern for others. Don't ever forget this in your career. I feel blessed that I'm sharing this time with you today. I truly wish you all the happiness and the success in your lives and careers. And I hope in my travels, when lockdown gets over and we all start traveling again, I hope I see you in person, whichever city you're in. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for the time, Dr. Bose, Sanchari, and all the other heads of the institute. Thank you so much for listening in and the time that you have invested in me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rohit. And it was an amazing and outstanding session. We have learned, I know, along with the students, we also learned new things today. 6 life lessons and 4 life skills. Thank you so much, Mr. Rohit, for taking your time and sharing with us. And quickly, I'd like to call my wonderful colleague, Ms. Sanchari, for a quick question and answer. Of course, a lot of questions are coming up. We don't have a time, but still, there are plenty of questions. I quickly, I'd like to call Ms. Sanchari for a quick question and answer. Over to you, Sanchari, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ernest. In fact, Rohit, most of the questions that students have, put in the chat box are something which you have already covered. And,
Okay.
because they were very, very, keenly listening to you, very attentively taking notes, and definitely, they have been very motivated. So there are loads of great, amazing, things that they have written for you. And one question, in fact, I would like to pick up from one of our students who have mentioned, they want to know about the skill sets that, tomorrow's employers are looking for into students, who are going to be graduating tomorrow. Of course, keeping in mind the current circumstances, what would you like to advise, Rohit?
One of the things that I think is important for every student to realize, and I think the way your curriculum is designed, both from a personal and a professional standpoint, I think if they did it diligently, the resultant is going to be this. The major quality that people look for is confidence in the individual. Confidence is not just about one thing. Confidence is about how you carry yourself, how you walk in, how you present yourself, the way you talk. So confidence for me is one of the most important things to be able to do an interview well. As anyone who's doing an interview, whether it's a student or any one of us, the best that we can do is do the interview properly. Whether we get selected or not is not our decision. It is somebody else's decision. But our job is to be confident and go in there cheerful. So confidence for me is number one, right? The other few things, second is communication. And, many years back, communication, I also used to relate communication to English language, right? But over the last 10, 15 years of my life, I have realized that communication is not about English language. Communication is the ability to connect with somebody and have a conversation with somebody. And when I say that, I mean that not that English is not important, but I'm saying that that's not what makes a person communicate. And I learned this. I learned this from a personal example. I remember taking somebody in because I loved his attitude, but he didn't speak English properly. And I hired him anyways. But he was my best guest interactive person. Even though he didn't understand English, he would connect with the guest on a very different level. Body language, attitude, smile, and guests loved him, even though he didn't speak English properly. So the importance of communication is there for English, but beyond that, it's about the ability to connect and have a conversation with someone. The third thing is grooming. Grooming is not about wearing the right clothes. Grooming is how you carry yourself. So I always say this, when you walk into a room, the first thing that should walk into a room is a smile. Because the smile sets the tone for the kind of attitude you're bringing into the room. So I think it's confidence, communication, and the way you carry yourself. And let's not forget, one of the most important thing from a foundation perspective is knowledge, because you are going to be asked questions about what you know. And increasingly people ask questions about things like, not necessarily theoretical things, but they'll ask you, where did you do your training from? And when you were in your training, where did you work? So if you, for example, worked in a restaurant, the question will be, tell me about the restaurant. How many covers did it have? What was the menu like? And that's more important for you to know. So knowledge is not just about theoretical knowledge, it's also about the practical that you have learned. So I think that's for me the more important things.
Absolutely, Rohit. Thank you so much for your inputs, and I'm certain all our students listening have understood this so well. These are very, very precious things that's been coming to you, and this will go a long way down the next 3 years. Creating the Iihm's best 3 years. This is exactly the values that we, in fact, are inculcating in our students. So, on that note, Rohit, thank you so much for today, and for exiting from the session. I would like to join my colleague Emmanuel in welcoming back Dr. Bose for the final words to the session.
Thanks very much, Rohit. It was absolutely extraordinary. Very, very inspiring and very simply said. That's, I think, the beauty of it. It's not been, I don't think you ever use any jargon or any long words. The important thing for this youngster is to understand it in a very simple way. And as we say that the simplicity is the most important thing, and it has been very, very motivational. And as Emmanuel said, not just for the student, but for all of us who are there and we're glued to the actually the screen for the entire period of your speech. And it was very, very good. But then we won't really leave you so easily without a promise that you need to come back and possibly after a month or so and speak to this bunch of very enthusiastic young people, and you can see the difference and you can see how they are actually progressing. So we will again request you to come back after a month or so, and hopefully better times to come. So thanks very much on behalf of the entire Iihm family, the directors, the faculty, and all the students. It was a great, great, great rocking morning, Friday morning session. And we call it Friday motivation.
Thank you, Dr. Bose.
So much, Dr. Bose.
Yes,
thank you for
Mr.
those words. I feel truly happy and blessed that I've been part of all of this journey, and inspiration or not, I don't know, but I think I'm just very happy that I can see so many faces, and it's great to have so many people on. And to your point, Dr. Bose, I must give credit to the person. I did have a little bit of jargon before, but when I spoke to my college-going son, he said, "Why are you doing all this? They are not going to want to listen to you." But I have to give credit to him to keep it simple. But thank you so much. Thank you
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rohit. And yes, as rightly Dr. Bose said, and it was superb. And we look forward, more sessions with you as you promised already. You promised with us, and you would be doing so. And looking forward, and I'm sure that our students will be carrying all your insights, all your life skill lessons, and along with them and implementing in their life. And thank you so much. And I would request all the students to join back into the same login ID at sharp 2 o'clock for another interesting sessions streaming live from London. So thank you everyone and have a great day. And signing off.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bose. Thank you so much, Rohit.
Thank you.
Namaskar.
Thank you everyone. Signing off from
Thank you.